The purpose of this video is to show you everything that the Windwalker Monk is going to have to offer you in the next expansion, The War Within, because the biggest decision that you're going to make is what class and specialization you are going to main. And if you want to make sure that you're staying up to date with news related to World of Warcraft, then make sure to smash that subscribe button. Your support is greatly appreciated. Now, Windwalker Monk is a very complex, highly nuanced specialization that received a very big rework in a recent patch. It focuses around this time on summoning in Celestials, doing massive waves of AoE damage and absolutely decimating your opponents, while also having hyper mobility to be able to get around and be the hero of your group regardless of the content that you are doing. It is a very fluid class. It definitely feels like a carry class with a ton of AoE utility for interrupts on trash mobs in dungeons, but also utility in shutting down targets in PvP situations. You are going to be incredibly durable in this expansion, with many talents providing you just passive damage mitigation at varying margins of health, as well as just passive and baseline. They are also making Expel Harm passive built into your damage rotation, so you're going to be more self-sufficient, more passively durable, and honestly more passively mobile as well, with new talents that when you roll, you will just immediately jump to a nearby target, granting you just more passive mobility and passive survivability, which is going to make just staying alive on the class and specialization a lot easier than in the past. Now, with the baseline talent trees, you're going to be able to focus around Strike of the Windlord, Blackout Kick, Rising Sun Kick, and most interestingly enough, Crackling Jade Lightning. I was really not expecting Crackling Jade Lightning, and I'm going to lock my talents out of my Strike of the Windlord build just to see what exactly is going on with this, because this talent seems so wild to me that I can't believe that it's possibly going to work. So we're going to test it here live in this video, but basically this is going to make it so your spenders make your next Crackling Jade Lightning cost less, channel faster, and do a truck ton more damage, supposedly. So I am very curious to see how much damage this does specifically as soon as we can actually get it onto our action bar here. So we're gonna have to use our spenders a bit and get it empowered, but once it is empowered, is this going to be like the Sith Lord Crackling Jade Lightning that I'm really expecting? We will have to wait and see in a moment, but you can see your entire screen is going to be lit up with animations and dopamine while you're playing the specializations during its cooldowns. It is a wild ride in terms of how much momentum it is able to pick up in its initial burst moment that you can see right now on these training dummies. So we're still just focusing on spending as many chi spenders as we can, getting towards that massive Crackling Jade Lightning. As soon as we get up to 20 stacks, we're going to reset this and see how much damage it does. So we were doing about 1.3 million DPS without it. So let's see when we get rid of everything. Complete reset. Full Sith Lord Chain Lightning. That did 4 million damage. There's no way that just did 4 million damage. There is no way that thing just did 4 million damage. Oh my god, I should have tried this in the last dungeon that I just tested. Oh my god. This is the ultimate KO. The ultimate KO. Okay, I thought that talent was going to be a meme, and that's why I didn't really test it before making this video, but we're very happy that I just tested it right here live on the video. You'll get a special treat there. The crackles, baby. The crackles are back. Snap, crackle, pop. If you're a Windwalker, you better get a Rice Krispie sponsor, because this is nasty damage. That is nasty, nasty damage there on the Crackling Jade Lightning. Pretty much anything that you press on this class is really impressive. They've reworked some of your stats, so things like haste are more desirable, making your Fists of Fury scale with haste, and obvious things like Invoker's Delight that provide you haste through summoning in your Celestials are going to give you more haste to empower your Fists of Fury. So more stats feel good, survivability feels good, mobility feels good. The Conduit of the Celestials hero talent feels absolutely fantastic. I love the visuals of it. The channeled mode, becoming like this god mode version, just channeled and huddling around in the fight while you're summoning in different Celestials that will empower your baseline abilities. It definitely hit the nail on the head in terms of the fantasy and the power and the delivery. Absolutely in love with it. The Shadow Pan, though, on the other hand, I was not particularly impressed with. When in direct comparison with the Conduit of the Celestials, its visuals are very lackluster. While its effects seem powerful, granting you armor penetration, granting you stacks of charges that are going to just do extra damage to the target, it just ended up feeling very basic and not really as intuitive or as fun. You just go through your rotation, and every once in a while you're going to get these extra little thunder strikes onto your target that at the end of the day didn't end up even doing that much extra damage and weren't really that visually stimulating relative to the Celestial the Conduits. It's kind of like you're overshadowed by your big brother almost in this sense. It just didn't seem that impressive, especially considering that the Shadow Pen are such an integral part to monks and Pandaria. I was really hoping that the Shadow Pan would be a little bit more visually stimulating. You can see it right there, the strikes, the thunder strikes, and the big crackle when we get to 20 stacks, and that's going to be my new favorite ability to press, I guess, when this thing comes out. But the Shadow Pan, not really as impressive. It will provide you a little bit of extra durability. The armor penetration is nice, but when it comes to visual and it comes to stimulation and kind of like overall fun, it's really tough to match that of the Conduit of the Celestials. I feel like the Conduit of the Celestials is going to be pretty much the go-to in probably most content, if not all content, at the moment, if not just for its raw throughput, but its visuals and the synergies that it has with empowering your Celestials to empower your other abilities and lead them forward. It reminds me very much so of like the Warlock hero talent trees that we've seen so far that look really good, visually stimulating. They change kind of rotation. They change the way you think about your abilities as they're procking through. Whereas the Shadow Pan one seems like it's kind of lagging a little bit behind, so it's a bit, obviously this is beta, maybe that's going to change before the expansion comes out. I mean, I sure hope that it does change a bit moving forward in that regard, and they have said that they will be working on these hero talent trees if some of them end up falling flat or not hitting the mark when the expansion releases, so don't get too disappointed immediately when you're watching this video in beta. The good guarantee right now is that Conduit of the Celestials looks really awesome, amazing, super fun to play with, and the baseline talent tree workout has a way better layout in terms of whether or not you want to focus around team utility, personal survivability, providing movement speed to your allies, portaling around and snaring enemies, a truck ton of just passive self-healing, reductions in keybinds, but the rotation complexity seems to be a little bit higher still, I'd say, than other melee DPS, at least as far as keybinds are concerned, especially if you're playing things like hit combo, which is kind of like a core mechanic of the Windwalker class for a long time, which requires you, actually, I think they just changed this. Did they change hit combo? Each successive attack that triggers combo strikes in a row grants 1% increased damage, stacking up to 5 times. Do you no longer need to cast a different spell every single time? I'm assuming that's still part of your mastery. Yeah, not a repeat of the previous ability. This is kind of like the core mechanic of the class that adds its complexity, is that when you're doing rotation, the main goal is to never press a repeat of the last button. So if you're Rising Sun kicked, you want to do a Tiger Palm. If it's a Fury, then you go back to Tiger Palm. Then you go on to a Spender, and then back on a Tiger Palm, and then rotate back and forth and never overlap. And that's kind of where the mechanics of this class are going to come into play when you're looking to do like maximum overall damage and be able to really blast down anybody that's coming across your path. Chi Burst, now it's got like a little bit of a proc. We saw the visual for it. Chi Burst is like one of my favorite monk abilities, but it's just, its damage is just like, it's really just not there yet, I don't think. It's hitting for about 427,000. I'd really like to see the numbers on Chi Burst go up. Maybe it can't because it's a direct node with Chi Wave or something like that. But Chi Burst originally, when Monk came out in Mists of Pandaria, was like my favorite ability, both visually. It just feels like you're channeling up a Kamehameha, and then the animation of it is very stimulating, super fun ability. So I'm really hoping that this ability ends up doing more damage upon the core release. I played it at the moment just for nostalgia, not as to whether or not it actually is going to be min-maxed or not, but I would really like to see this improved. Things like Fortifying Brew being a 2-minute cooldown now is going to provide you a huge amount of defensive rotation. You're going to be really powerful in that regard. You've basically got everything to be successful, a bunch of fun new goodies, and hopefully they'll touch up the Shadow Pan as they're moving forward into the expansion. But I absolutely love my time on Windwalker here on the beta. I would definitely recommend it to those that are interested in trying it out. And other than that, thank you very much for watching the video. I will see you in the next one.